This is Rory. Since the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ in Luzon last March 23, she's been staying in her house reading news about COVID-19, a new viral infection that has been affecting many countries. If you're watching this, you're probably like Rory, or you might have at least heard of the ECQ. This advises that all people stay at home to keep the virus from spreading. As the days pass, more people have less money to buy food and other essentials because they can't go to work. This is why you may have seen food packs being distributed in your barangays. On the other hand, some say they haven't received such support yet. As you may have noticed, managing resources like food, money, and personal protective equipment or PPEs is an important coping feature against this crisis. From those at home to the frontliners, COVID-19 has indeed affected everyone. Fortunately, a better understanding of our situation as receivers and providers of limited resources can help us critically evaluate our situation and assess how certain actors are moving.
According to the World Health Organization, COVID-19 is a new strain in the coronavirus family. While 80% of those afflicted recover without needing any special treatment, 1 in 6 cases are serious, with the elderly being especially vulnerable. In the WHO Situation Report, we see that there are just under 1.7 million confirmed cases worldwide, with deaths at just above 100,000. And locally, the numbers are at 4,428 cases and 247 deaths. A pandemic on such a scale impacts the whole economy. As a result, the flow of resources slows down or in some cases stops altogether. With restrictions on travel and work, working people lose their incomes and livelihoods. Businesses face difficulties keeping afloat, and people's ability to obtain basic needs and pay their bills are compromised. Even those previously financially stable risk economic vulnerability due to the lockdown. Governments worldwide are scrambling to get the situation under control. Right now, our government is planning on spending billions in cash aid, and a spending package has been announced for medical equipment as well as support for tourism, agriculture, and small businesses. The Bangko Sentral has also taken drastic measures, providing financial relief like loans for banks, making them cheaper and more accessible by cutting its policy rate and reducing reserve requirements. All these measures are aimed at ensuring the economic stability needed to keep people like Rory safe and secure, not just in health, but also in necessary wealth.
After hearing the news about the economic impact of COVID-19 to the country, Rory begins to question the importance and significance of economics, especially during this crisis. Economics can be defined in several ways. One of the most known definitions is made by Samuelson and Nordhaus, wherein they define economics as a study of how societies use scarce resources to produce valuable goods and services and distribute them among different individuals. An important aspect of this definition is how society decides how insufficient resources are utilized. For example, the supply of PPEs, medical facilities, and even access to necessities like food are currently insufficient to accommodate every Filipino. With this scarcity, economists try to see how we can equitably and efficiently tackle the aforementioned problems, making sure that everyone receives their needs and that no one is left behind, while still using the least amount of inputs or cost to solve them. The government is not the only one in play here. You also have the market and the people. The market allows the flow and allocation of resources, but since it cannot function normally during this crisis, the government has to intervene and do the work. Through laws, directives, and LGU operations, the Philippine government should attempt to solve the problem of resource scarcity and accessibility. At the same time, we cannot discount the efforts of those who have volunteered to donate and assist to fulfill our needs. In various ways, we see how the members of society play a huge role in attempting to solve the economic problems of our country during this crisis. Maybe one can even point out that society does not need the market in order to truly pursue society's collective goals. But that's a different matter and for another discussion.
The why of economics. The circumstances we live in are far from typical. For those with even fewer resources like Rory, What were once normal routines are now considered luxuries. Day in and day out, she becomes increasingly worried about not having enough money to pay for food, and more so, hospital bills, should she get infected. In the face of the global pandemic, some have even spurred political unrest due to the economic downturn. COVID-19 is primarily a public health crisis that has taken thousands of lives, but it is also an economic issue that has affected the entire population. A long to medium-term decline in economic activity seen in the country's output, real income, employment, retail sales, and industry suggests what is called a recession, according to credible economic authorities like the National Bureau of Economic Research and the International Monetary Fund. The present recession is even predicted to be at the same level as the Great Depression, the longest economic recession in modern world history. Indeed, the pandemic begs the question of social protection for vulnerable sectors. Effective management of supply lines and strategic trade are every country's top responsibility. We live in economic uncertainty. Moving forward seems easier said than done, but through well-intended and collaborative action, it's not yet too late to make things better.